Welcome all you Plus 2 Comedy modifiers back to the Thursday show. Welcome to Plus 2 Comedy Extra, and this is the movie pitch. I need someone that can do graphics like really bad. So this is the movie pitch. Basically, this is where I sit down and I pitch you an idea for a movie. Whenever I'm like daydreaming, chances are I'm thinking of some insane story. The only issue is, one, I know it'll never actually become a movie, and two, I don't want to spend the time sitting down and writing it. So, sit back and relax, have a Sprite, not a sponsor, and I'm going to tell you my idea for a movie, and you can just sit back and enjoy. So today, I am telling you a teen sex comedy that is also a crime drama. So strap in. Our story begins with Eric. Eric is in his senior year of high school, and he is a shoo-in to be the prom king. He is super popular. He's the captain of the swim team. Girls love him, guys want to be him. He's the be-all, end-all. He gets into trouble, and teachers don't care. You know, he's the cool kid in school. He is on his way to be prom king, but there is a jealous person, and that is Frankie. Frankie is the star quarterback for the school. Ooh. So there's a bit of a friendly, unfriendly rivalry between the two of them because they both want to be prom king. One day we have Eric in the locker room and he's getting ready for a swim meet. And he's using Nair on his legs and stuff because hair slows you down while you're swimming. I did research for this. So he's using Nair to kind of smooth out his legs. And Frankie from the football team comes in and starts making fun of him. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, look at the pretty boy with his nicely shaved legs. Oh, why don't you play a real sport like football? And he goes, yeah, you know, Frankie, I would, but there's always that one problem with football, and that's the head injuries. And he takes his hands and he runs it through his head. And Frankie freaks out because his head gets covered in Nair, and he just starts, like, losing hair. So he ends up sending Eric to the principal's office for nairing the football player's head. And as he's on his way to the principal's office, he sees Holly. Holly is pretty much in line to be prom queen, and knows she'll be prom queen if she can get with Eric. They would be like a power couple in this high school. And Eric's not, like, super against it, but she's not really his type, you know? She's like, overly bubbly and overly excited. She's the one that reads the morning announcements and things like that. So Holly chases Eric down the hallway, like, oh, come on, have you thought about prom? He's like, I'm thinking about it, but I gotta go get yelled at for my prank, so leave me alone. He goes into the principal's office, and the principal's like, listen, Frank, you probably deserved what you did to him, but this can't go unpunished. I'm sorry, Eric, but I am disqualifying you from being prom king. And he loses it. He's like, no, I worked my whole high school career to be prom king. This is really important to me. It's the most important moment of my life. You know how high school kids don't understand life? This is the most important thing to me. Don't do this to me. He's like, okay, I will give you one chance. We have an exchange student coming in from Germany. His name is Gillian. And Gillian needs a place to stay. If you home this student and you give them a place to stay, make them feel comfortable in our school, I'll let you stay for prom king. Eric's like, is this blackmail? And the principal, who's like kind of cool, is like, yeah, basically, it's blackmail. I need you to make sure that this kid has a good experience. He's from Germany, and it will actually give the school a lot of money if he has a good experience. Eric's like, oh, but I don't even speak German. And I was like, don't worry, Gillian actually understands English perfectly. The only issue with Gillian is mute. So you're not going to be able to have much conversation with him anyway, but he'll be able to understand you, and that's what's important. So Eric is completely defeated, and he's like, oh, I'm going to have this stupid kid. I'm going to have to watch him. He's going to be a nerd because he's an exchange student. I'm going to have to watch over him while I'm trying to be cool and be the prom king. So he goes to the bus station. The bus station's by the beach. They're in California, because that's where like all the rich kids are. So they're in California, and he goes to the bus stop, and he's looking out at the ocean, and the kid doesn't show. So Eric goes for a swim in the ocean, because he's a swimmer. That's kind of like what he does. And he kind of gets like dried off, and he heads back to the bus stop. And again, he's not there. He's just like, oh. So he sits down, and he just ends up yelling like, Gillian! Gillian, are you here? And this woman taps Eric on the shoulder. And she is this beautiful knockout woman. She's got like long red hair and a killer smile and just a rockin' bod. And Eric looks at this woman and she points to herself like, Eric's like, are you Gillian? She nods. Oh, okay. So Eric takes this beautiful high school girl back to his home and has to explain to his parents that because of this prank that now this beautiful woman has to live in his room. So he's real awkward about having this beautiful woman there, and she is completely just exchange student, has no idea. Like she doesn't mind just like getting undressed in front of him, and it's real sexy. I'm playing into the sex part. There will be crime later, trust me. So the next day he comes to school with this girl and is the talk of the school. It's like, who is this beautiful redhead? He goes into the principal and is like, so I met Gillian. Gillian's a woman. And the principal's like, I kind of assumed that Gillian was a man. I'm sorry. I just, paperwork was in German. I'm sorry. You got this, though. I mean, just keep her out of trouble and, everything will be fine. I won't have to punish you for your prank. So Holly immediately gets jealous that now it seems that Eric is with this new girl. And this new girl, is constantly getting into trouble in school. Like, she's going through her classes, but she keeps sneaking out to see Eric. Eric has a big swim meet coming up, and he does this relay race. And he's the anchor of the relay race, so he needs to be, the fastest at the end. And when they hand him the baton, there's not really a baton, it's like a tag. His school is behind. So he dives in and he has to make up the distance, and he's so close. He's that close, and he doesn't make it. And Frankie's laughing at him. And as soon as he gets out, Holly's there and hugs him. He doesn't want anything to do with Holly at this moment. He's just all ticked off. So Gillian tries to comfort him, and he's like, you just don't understand the pressure I'm under. The whole school was counting on me. And she's just kind of miming, make me understand. And they kind of have this cool moment where he's real upset and she's understanding. And they go to kiss for a moment, and Holly breaks it up. Hey, Eric, it's me, Holly. You love me, and we should go to prom together. When are you going to ask me to prom? Make sure it's something interesting. And he's like, you know what? Will you go to prom with me, Gillian? Oh, now everyone's real upset, because now this new girl, this mute girl that everyone finds very interesting, and she's foreign, and the captain of the swim team are now this power couple. So Holly doesn't like this at all. And neither does Frankie, whose hair is growing back very slowly. So they go on a date, and they're getting sushi because it's LA. And they're just kind of, I would say that they're talking, but more Eric is talking at Gillian. And Gillian looks over and notices Frankie is sitting at a table not too far away. It's that's weird. And then on the other side of the restaurant is Holly. sitting not too far away. He's like, that's really strange. And as he's talking to Gillian, it's like, it's a little bit weird that both these people are sitting at opposite ends of the restaurant kind of looking at us. I don't know, I'm really concerned. And then there's a hand on Eric's shoulder. It's like, yeah, that does sound weird. I'm sure you'll be fine. And it's the principal. I was like, Principal Lithgow. It's John Lithgow in my mind, but Principal Lithgow, what are you doing here? It's like, I'm just here to get some food. You know, good luck being prom king. It's like, well, that's weird that he's kind of paying attention to me in this weird way. The food comes out, and Gillian starts looking around and suddenly panics. And they run away, and he grabs, or Gillian grabs Eric, and they leave in a panic. And Eric's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And she's just like unable to speak, but like panicked and just worried. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to where I go, when I'm really freaked out. So he starts to take her to the beach where they first met. And again, she kind of freaks out and she runs away. So Eric runs through the streets looking for Gillian and just can't seem to find her anywhere. Until eventually he comes home thinking like, this is going to cost him the heart of this girl that he's starting to care for. It's also going to cost him prom king. He's not a big fan of that. And he comes in, he sees his parents, and it's like, I lost Gillian. And his parents hug him like real tight. It's like, what's that about? And they're like, well, you know, Gillian came home without you. So I was like, Gillian's here. I was like, yeah, we thought you might have been hurt. I'm like, what do you mean someone was hurt? It's like, well, someone threw a Molotov cocktail through the restaurant you were staying in. The whole place burned down. It's like, oh my God, really? And it's like, yeah, they seems like there's no one injured, but you know, it's very odd that this place is burned down. So Eric starts thinking about all the people he saw there, and he finds it very suspicious that no one was injured. So he goes up to he can't really question the principal, but he's going to question everybody else. So he starts to kind of play detective now, because it's very suspicious that this place burned down. So he, being like the manly man that he is just going to straight up go and question people. So he goes right up to the principal and he's like, hey, what did you see? And he's like, I was on my way out after I saw you. I walked out. I was home by the time that, you know, whatever happened. And it's like, that's really suspicious. So you're telling me that whenever whatever happened, you were outside the building. Interesting. Very interesting. And at this point, we notice that the principal has left this cabinet open, and the cabinet is actually a liquor cabinet. So he's got all this booze that he's drinking during the hours, but he notices that there's like a spot missing. Like there was a bottle of alcohol in there, but it's gone now. So then he goes to talk to Frankie. Frankie doesn't want any part of this, and he's just like, look, I think you did it. He starts blaming Eric, because he's like, we're all here, then I saw you leave, and then I went to the bathroom, I heard the window break, I came out, and everything was on fire. And then they go to question Holly, and Holly doesn't want to have anything to do with these questions. She's just like, don't talk to me. You don't want to be with me. I don't want to talk to you. I never want to talk to you guys again. Leave me alone. It's like, wow, that's really suspicious out of Holly. Like, so Eric's kind of monologuing to Gillian about the people that he talked to, and Gillian's just kind of like nodding and just like worried, and she kind of like mimes like, is someone going to hurt us? And like he's like, no, everything's going to be fine, but we got to find out what's going to happen here. He gets a text message that says, meet me at the park. Come alone, I have information. It's from Holly. So he goes to see Holly at the park. Holly doesn't show up. And it turns out that she has been murdered. They find her dead just about a few blocks away. So, like, she was trying to come and meet him, and she's been killed. Just like, all right, so this isn't funny anymore. Well, I mean, there was a burned building, so I guess it wasn't ever really funny. And a very distraught Eric goes to the funeral and runs into Frankie. And Frankie's like, I was going to take Holly to the prom and now I can't. This is your fault. I blame you. And Eric's like, you know what? I blame you. I think you did this. I think you're framing me. I will not rest until I find out what happened to Holly. And Gillian's just like, no, don't fight. And she doesn't talk, remember? She's like, no, come on. So it's prom night. And at the prom, he takes Gillian. And he wins prom king. And Gillian wins prom queen, despite only being there for a little bit of time. And Frankie is furious, and the principal is drunk. He keeps, like, trying to enjoy this moment, but his mind is elsewhere. And he's pacing in the hallways like, there's all this crazy stuff going on here. Let's get out of here. Let's go somewhere else. And he's like, let's go to the beach. And she's reluctant at first. She's like, I don't like the beach. And he's like, the beach is my special place. Let me tell you. Whenever I'm swimming in the pool, I feel all this stress because I have to be a hero. I have to be a champion. But when I swim in the ocean, it's very freeing. You know, I find the ocean to be a very special place to me. Let's just go listen to the waves. And reluctantly, Gillian agrees, and the two of them go and they sit on the beach. So meanwhile, Frankie, who leaves the prom, ends up finding security footage of what happens to Holly. And in watching it, like, we don't see it, we just see his eyes watching it. He's like, oh. He rushes out. We don't know where he's going. So meanwhile at the beach, the two of them are just kind of holding arm in arm, or arms around each other. And, like, Gillian's still, like, nervous. We don't know why. So Eric, like, starts to say how special Gillian is. And he leans in to kiss her. And when he leans in, he puts his hand down on the beach and feels like a weird thing. But he doesn't, like, he's just like, kissing. And then as they're kissing, all the life gets sucked out of him. He falls back dead, and underneath his hand, there's a buried body. And Frankie runs up and was like, it was you, Gillian. I saw what you did to Holly, and now look what you've done to Eric. And Gillian turns around and says, I had to. It's the first time you hear her speak, and it sends a chill down the audience's spine. He's like, what did you just say? And she goes, I had to. I had to kill him. And then underneath there's that other body. He goes, and I had to kill this guy, who you should kind of fill in the blanks and realize that that's really Gillian. Frankie's like, why? Why did you do this? And this woman looks out into the sea, doesn't really pay attention to Frankie, just looks. And it's like, Eric was the key. So long, I wanted to be where the people were. And because of Eric, I got to see them. Got to see them dancing. But kissing him and killing him was the only way that I'd get my voice back. The only way it would be my turn. Because somehow I needed to be part of your world. And it's secretly a horror Little Mermaid. That's a stupid thing I thought of when I was just in a car somewhere, and I was like, I'll yell this into a camera. So what do you think? Would you enjoy that film? Who would you cast in all the parts? If you want more of these really dumb movie pitches, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to make them fun like this one as well. Be sure to subscribe, and every Thursday there's a brand new +2 comedy extra, and it's one of these silly videos. So I will see you next time here on +2 Comedy.